Stand out a fight.
我が消え、神という光が失われた時、どのような世界になるかわからんのか。
世は乱れる。これから多くの苦しみと悲しみが溢れるだろう。
そう分かっていて立ち向かってきたとはなぜ。
それが人だ。その意味を分からなくても俺たちは生きたいと願っている。不完全かもしれない。だからこそ誰かとつながりを求め、間違いながらも歩いていく。目の前に広がるこの世界に答えがあると信じて、ただまっすぐに歩き続けるんだ。一歩また一歩と。
我が消えてもこの世界がある限り、我が生み出した断りが消えることはない。黒に侵され死にゆく世界で覆すことのできぬ因果にもがき苦しめ永遠に。
Oh no, this bitch is back. God, they're going way back.
アルテマの力は大きすぎて俺一人の手には余る。だがこれなら奴が作った世界の断りを焼き尽くすことができる。ベアラーもドミナントもクリスタルも魔法も全てを灰に返そう。たとえこの身が砕けようとも。人は自ら場所を作れる。
Oh. So what are they gonna do about the floating island in the sky? Is that just gonna fall to the... Oh. To be fair, even if they both survive this, how the fuck are they get back down to the ground? Washed up. Uh-oh. It's the curse.
私の可愛い子。本当に名前は決めたの？
どうしていやー、こんにちは。ガボおじさんに顔を見せてくれ。
でかい声出すなバカ。
何かした？
静かにしろっての。大丈夫よ。
おお。
後で抱っこしてもいい？もちろんよ。
この子はきっと人の世界を生きていく。二人のシドの思った世界をな。
こうしてクリスタルを巡る探求の旅は終わった。
Maybe he's not dead. You know, maybe it's just like Sid, or it was just his hand that was suffering from the curse. Now, I did kind of get spoiled about the ending. There's been a lot of back and forth whether or not Clive actually died or not. A lot of people think because his hand was turned to stone that he succumbed to the curse himself. But others think otherwise, especially if you paid attention to the side quests. So I did get spoiled about his death, quote unquote death. I'm on the optimistic side. I'm gonna hope for that he's alive, and it's just like with Sid, where it's just his hand was cursed. You know, I'm on the optimistic side. He just hasn't shown up yet. But that's just me. A lot of people think he's dead. Maybe he's not. Maybe he will. Maybe he is. Who knows? No one will know actually, unless it's officially stated. I'm kind of curious if apparently they're thinking of making some DLC for this game now. DLC ideas I would like to see is maybe something about Sid. Because we know almost close to nothing about his background, so I would kind of like a DLC with Sid. Maybe a DLC with Leviathan, because that's the only icon that they never showed. They referenced it like I think they only referenced it like twice, and that's it. So maybe a DLC with Leviathan. That would be kind of cool. Maybe some new abilities as well. That'd be awesome. Maybe a DLC that's kind of like not a new game plus, but like kind of like an after story kind of thing. But that's highly doubtful. Oh fuck! I want to believe that Clive's alive though, and the ending is just rather open. I'm gonna be optimistic. Oh fuck me! I loved it. The game was great. I loved it. Combat was fun. Obviously, it probably would have been a little bit better if I didn't have that ring on. But I'm not smart. Well, first of all, I'm not intuitive enough to play it without the ring, because that's just me. I like to mash and that's it. I don't like to think. I don't like to consider complex combos. I love the story. The story was fantastic. The side quests, as mundane as a lot of them were, some of those side quests, both the ones that had their own little side stories to them, like the Blacksmith Blues, the stuff at Northreach, you know, and they all had their own little world building aspect to them and character development, which I love. It helps lift the story up even more, which a lot of side quests in a lot of games don't do that. So I actually for once loved the side quests, as annoying as they were. The characters, I love the characters. Diverse cast. You know, it was kind of obvious between who was gonna die and who was not gonna die. I mean, Sid, that was a red flag immediately. Dion, with how they kept portraying his character, that was a red flag. Clive, it's kind of in the gray area. Joshua, I didn't expect him. Well, I guess I probably should have expected it, considering he was holding Ultimate within him. So I guess I should have expected, plus with how his body was deteriorating, I should have expected that. But I didn't, so that was a red flag I didn't see coming. Who else? I think that's the only one major who died. Oh, Theodore. Man, Theo. Probably for a side character, you know, his death was, you know, unfortunate. Oh, fuck. I loved it. If they ever do DLC, then I might do a New Game Plus. Well, I probably will do a New Game Plus, just not on stream. I'll probably do it on my own time, if anything. Because the New Game Plus adds in, obviously, new upgrades for your weapons, new weapons in general. It offers a Final Fantasy mode, which is which I guess is our ideal mode you want to play as, because I guess it carries everything over, your levels, all your icons, it carries everything over. But rather than having enemies start at like level 1 or 5 or something, they start at level 40 something and I think they go up to 100. Plus the level cap is increased from 50 to 100 as well. Plus you can upgrade accessories as well, which you couldn't do in the first playthrough. So I might do New Game Plus on my own time, and hope they do DLC. That would be amazing. So maybe the next time I do it, if there is a next time, if I do another Final Fantasy 16 video, I'll probably in a New Game Plus file. I loved it though. Honestly, a lot of people bitched about the combat, how it's a button masher, it's too easy, it's a DMC ripoff. This game's not a Final Fantasy game. This game's not an RPG, you know, which it is. People are just delusional. When it comes to the RPG aspect, people use the term RPG way too broadly. I mean, RPGs are obviously role-playing games, which that's practically every single game out there, whether it's a FPS, whether it's a strategy game, whether it's okay, maybe not a puzzle game, a racing game, something. It's the RPG element practically fits within every single game genre out there. So when people say RPG, they could be that could also be referencing like Halo or Call of Duty, Destiny, Battlefield. You know, games that while you're assuming the role of a character, don't actually count as RPGs. So people use the term RPG far too broadly, which I guess that's why they created the term JRPG, which I guess a lot of developers don't like that term, which I can probably understand. So, my thoughts when it comes to the aspect of what makes an RPG, and not just some game that slots into the category because you're assuming a role. My definition of an RPG is if it has an intriguing story, it has a diverse cast of characters, skill trees, side quests that may or may not that circle back into world development or character development and world building. A great combat, a functional leveling system, and maybe a couple other things. And this game had that. It had a story, a great story. People bitch about the story, which I think it's great. It had a diverse cast of characters. It had skill trees. It had crafting, albeit very limited. At least in the first playthrough. That might change in a second. It had a functioning level system, and obviously it had side quests that circle back into world building and character development. So this game has all the elements of what I would consider an RPG. Now obviously, everyone's definition of what an RPG is different. So I could walk up to someone and talk to them about RPGs, and they might have a completely different opinion. And of course, people would throw in when it comes to like stuff like skill trees and crafting, things like that. People would probably throw in, oh, God of War has these elements. You know, The Last of Us has these elements, which kinda they do, but they're not real RPGs because they only have like a few of the aspects that would make an RPG an RPG. It doesn't matter if the game is turn-based or action-based, like this game. So long as it has all of those elements that I just said, world building, character development, diverse cast, a story, a functioning level system, maybe a couple of other things. So long as an RPG has all of that, it's an RPG. So that's my stance of what I consider an RPG, you know? And a lot of people, I was talking to a lot of people over social media, like on Facebook and Twitter, and a lot of people, I'm kind of surprised how many people came back at me and saying, oh, your opinion is wrong, your opinion is flawed, this is not how it is, blah blah blah. You assume a role of a character, so it's automatically an RPG. No, it's not. Just because it's a role-playing game doesn't mean it doesn't mean it's an RPG, because like I said, that could define literally every other game out there. So it kind of annoys me when people use the term RPG too broadly, because there's more to an RPG than just assuming a role of a character, you know? And I don't understand why people just don't get that. I don't get it. Oh, fuck. That's my rant on RPGs. Man. I had high expectations for this game, considering it's Yoshi P and his and the creative business unit, people behind Final Fantasy 14. I had high expectations that this game was going to be fantastic, and it is. My expectations were met, and I had no doubt that they would. This is honestly the most fun Final Fantasy game I've played since, not including 14. This is probably the most fun Final Fantasy game I've played probably since 9 or 10. You know, 11 and 14 don't count because those are MMOs. So I'm not gonna put those in the same category. Though obviously you can probably count 14 as part of it, because you know that's, you know, but I'm not gonna do that. But yeah, I have this, you know, Final Fantasy 12 was a disappointment. I hate 12. I hated 12. I've always hated 12, even though turn down the volume a little bit. Even though I was giving it kind of like the benefit of the doubt when I did a playthrough way back a couple like I think it was a year or two ago. I gave it the benefit of the doubt. Man, I still hated it. 13, I don't want to get me started with the 13 trilogy. I hated the 13 trilogy more so than for 12. The 13 trilogy just felt so unnecessary, in my opinion. 13 ended in a nice spot, but then 13-2 happens, and then Lightning Returns happens, and it kind of ruined it. And then you have the disappointment of Final Fantasy 15, which that game was so disappointing. At launch, man. If you didn't put the game at launch, you won't understand. If you play it now, it might be a little better, but it's still. But at launch, you don't understand how disappointing it was at launch. So much stuff was missing, and it took so many patches to add a new story. Then you had to watch a movie. You had to watch an animated series. You had to play the character episode that should have been in the game from the get-go. You know, Final Fantasy 15 was just a right mess in every regard. So 15 was a disappointment. So aside from 14, I think this is like the first Final Fantasy game I actually felt completely satisfied with since 9 or 10. Well, actually 10 actually. I love this I love this crystal theme though. I've always loved the crystal theme. But yeah, that's my opinion. This is easily the best Final Fantasy game for me since 10. Oh man, oh man. We're finally done though. It took a lot longer to finish this game than I thought. They really piled on the side quests at the end too. Man. I don't have much else to say about this game, honestly. It's nice that they have a new game plus. I'll definitely explore that. Now, obviously, there's stuff that I didn't do. There's that Akashic Stone, or what the hell it's called, that was in the hideaway. There were those special trials that you can find across or scattered around the world, which let you repeat the encounters of boss fights. Obviously, I haven't done those. The scene replays, I had no reason to go back and do those. So obviously, there's still stuff that I haven't done, but I just have no interest in doing it. Besides, it's not like I have any intentions to platinum in this game. And even if I had intentions, I don't think I would be able to, because there are a couple trophies that might be a little difficult for me personally to get. Like there's trophies in those trials where you repeat boss fights where you get those collectibles for Clive's room. You get one for each fight for not taking a single point of damage in boss fights. And I'm not skilled enough to do that. And you don't have to. I don't think you have to do all of them, but you need to do at least one to get the trophy for it. And that's not gonna happen. I'm not that skilled, as you could probably see. I'm satisfied though. I'm kind of interested to see what happens with Final Fantasy 17. Which makes me wonder who's gonna be behind that game whenever that fucking comes out, like 10 years from now. But I'm definitely interested in any DLC, any possibilities of DLC for this game though. I'm definitely interested in it. Oh. Man. Not much else to say. I mean, this world was fucked up. I mean, man, Valisthea was a bad place you'd want to find yourself living in. I wouldn't want to live here. The place is so fucked up in so many ways. It's unreal. Like, I couldn't believe how fucked up the world is. God, these credits just keep going and going. Long credits. I don't want to skip them, because if I skip them, I might skip whatever happens at the end, and I don't want to do that. I mean, I'd probably be safe, but I'm just gonna let it roll out. But I guess I could talk about the next game, though, now that this is over. Now that this is over, though, I could finally move on to the next one, which I've been waiting for like 2 weeks. I got Trails into Reverie to play, and another game I'm super excited to play. So I'm definitely getting excited for that. The icon battles were great. I love the icon battles. Titan was a little finicky. I didn't really like Titans as much. I think Titan might be the weakest one personally. And we never fought Shiva. We fought Jill, but we never actually fought Shiva. So I have no. It's kind of disappointing how her kind of arc kind of ended so quickly. Not Jill, but Shiva's. Titans, Titans was finicky. I didn't really like Titans as much. Bahamut, my absolute favorite. Odin was decent, but Bahamut was the best in my opinion. Garuda, I did not like Garuda. Garuda is up there with Titan. I did not like Garuda's fight at all. Garuda's fight was less memorable in my opinion. So, scratch what I said about Titan. Garuda's was probably the weakest icon battle. Kind of makes me wonder if they do like a DLC for Leviathan, you know. I'm interested to see how they make him out. I don't know if they would add an actual fight with Leviathan. Be freaking cool though. But they did classify Leviathan as the Lost. Plus, and that last big fight sequence with Bahamut, Phoenix and Ifrit against Ultima, that was an awesome fight scene right there. I might have to put a disclaimer at the beginning of these credits. These credits are very long. It's like I'm in a movie theater. Probably have to put a disclaimer. I don't want to get rid of them in the editing, so I'll probably put a disclaimer saying go to this time. Plus, I also noticed that a lot of people kept bitching about the frame rates, the resolution, how this wasn't a 1080p, it wasn't 60 frames. I could see a little bit of drop in the performance mode, but it wasn't jarring and too noticeable in my opinion. So for me, this game looked like it was running on the same engine as Final Fantasy XIV, if not a little bit of an upgraded version of it to it. So for me, I was kind of used to how the game looked because it has the same engine. The FPS, what to do. A lot of people care about FPS. Me, I couldn't care less if it's a 30 FPS game or a 60 FPS game. Yes, 60 FPS game is smoother to play, and smoother to watch, but for me, so long as the game is enjoyable, that's fine with me. Of course, that can also, having low or high FPS can also be a factor in people's enjoyment factor as well. So that's also another one of those things where it's kind of up to the player at that point. I also want to point out one other thing about Clive's supposed death. A lot of people speculate that another reason why he's alive is because of the star Mattia, the wishing star. Mattia was that red star that I believe it was the red star that was in the night sky that was burning bright. A lot of people believe because Jill always prayed to Mattia to bring back Clive, so a lot of people think that she was crying not out of sadness but out of joy because her wish was being granted, so to speak. So that's another thing why people think Clive is alive. I'm gonna put my ballot in with them. Here we go. We're getting to the end. I feel like I'm watching a movie. A lot of people kept saying this this game was like watching a movie. And I can see why. There's a lot of cutscenes, but then again, this is a Final Fantasy game. It's from a very heavily story-driven studio. You know, having big long cutscenes was not a shock at all. Oh, Final Fantasy. So, if Magic's in fairy tales, this must be like way in the future. Okay, interesting. But where one journey ends, another begins. So that must take place like way far in the future. Falling star. Oh, you can't drop that line where one journey ends. You can't drop that line. They do this all the time in 14. So there has to. I'm gonna be optimistic and say there's gotta be more to it coming later on. There's gotta be. You can't. They don't usually they drop that line when there's like a to be continued type of thing. Back to their origin complete. New Game Plus is now available. Oh boy! This option allows you to start a new game with the player and item data carried over from previous play to completed playthrough. New game played in Final Fantasy mode is also available for exclusive. Final Face mode gameplay offers increased enemy strength, increased up level to 100, new gear and items, mode exclusive content. So, let me show you. Final Fantasy mode. Replay the story in Final Fantasy mode with the data carried over from the previous playthrough. Obviously, level enemies a little harder. To aid your journey, the legendary ultimate weapons available for crafting. After starting, you'll be unable to switch over to story or action mode. Interesting. So I'm kind of curious what that mode exclusive content is. So I guess I'll find that out on my own. But yeah, another thing that people noted about that book is if you paid attention to the side quests with, particularly with the back and forth between Harp and Clive, where Clive or Harp said that he would one day, you know, put down his sword and pick up a pen or quill. You know, and Clive said that he would have a lot to write about. Why it's in Joshua's name, I don't know. I highly doubt Joshua would keep a record. So, I'm gonna go off the assumption that Clive survived. He wrote the book about their journey, and obviously all of that, a whole scene took place far, far into the future. If magic and icons and all that kind of stuff was stuff in fairy tales. So that's going to be what I'm going to go off the assumption of. So, in short, I believe Clive survived at the end. I'm going to be one of those people. I'm going to be optimistic. But that's going to be it for this playthrough. Fucking awesome. I loved every minute of it. Oh, man. But, that's going to be it. So, I hope you enjoyed it. If there is any, like, new mode exclusive content that I come across, in a New Game Plus that I previously didn't in, the first playthrough, that I might cover it. Obviously, I'm not gonna cover, like, the crafting, the ultimate weapon, all that kind of stuff, but if there's, like, new, like, story or anything like that, which I don't think there is. If there is anything new like that, then I'll definitely cover it. But for right now, we're done. Maybe the prospect in future DLC. This may or may not be the final. We might be back to the world of Valisthea. Who knows? We'll just see what happens in the future if they bring in DLC. But that's going to be it. I hope you enjoyed it. I sure fuck did. I'm fully satisfied. Fully satisfied. I had high expectations and they were all met. But that's gonna be it. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next playthrough. Later.